All right, everybody. Hello, 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 and happy Monday. You are joining us for a sprint planning. My name is E.R. Wolf, and I'm here with LFI, joined with my partner, Guy Toole. We're the co-founders here. And one of the things we like to do is hop on every single Monday, the beginning of your week, to remind you that making forward progress and reaching your goals is no more complex than making a plan and executing or taking action on the actionable items in that plan. So we've dedicated one day a week for all of this year to come on and remind you, if you haven't already, and this is something that, Guy, you and I have been in the habit for a long time. We've applied this within our personal lives to great success. We're just trying to educate everybody else that this is a path that you can follow as well that will lead to predictable results. So typically, Guy, you and I, we're already thinking on Sunday, hey, this is what we have going on for the week ahead. And we're thinking about all of those items that we have going on in all the different areas that we're trying to focus on making forward progress in. So it doesn't always have to be about our career or about finance or about the sales and the marketing within our business, our brands, our products, or our services, although that's a lot of the core conversation. It's really about balanced success in all areas of our life. And we talk about that wheel of life. And here's the reality. We are in almost the halfway point of June 2022. So think about this. We've been doing this consistently, relentlessly consistently for the last 6 months, going on 6 months in full. And what we've learned, and this is all based on the original guidance of the Born to Win book Zig Ziglar put together, right? Born to Win. So if you have an opportunity, I suggest sometime in the next 2 weeks, you make one of your to-do list items to refresh yourself by rereading that book. And it's always good. We call it will, skill, and refill, to refill ourselves up and remind ourselves what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so this is another time where in that book, they talk about the wheel of life and sort of segmenting out where we are on a scale of 1 to 10 in all areas of the wheel of life. I'm going to hold it up, but we have this available in our resources for everybody. So you're talking about where you are physically, mentally, family, financial, personal, career, spiritual, etc. And we believe true success is when you're balanced in all of those areas and working towards being a 10 out of 10 in all of those areas. Well, one of the things that the book teaches us as a path or as a model is to periodically come back and do a spot check of where we're at so we can course correct. We don't have to be constantly looking at our big, hairy, audacious goals on a daily basis. But what we do want to do is come back every 6 months. So June, after June ends and July begins, we're at that 6-month mark. We want to be looking at that. So this is going to be an opportunity, if you're new to this, if you're just joining us now, that we're going to be able to dive in collectively together, meet up on our Thursday conversations, have these discussions about what does analyzing your wheel of life look like? How do you benchmark where you are at right now and then set where you are going on what that 10 out of 10 looks like? And then what do you do to make a plan? And that really brings us full circle back to these Monday conversations. You want to make a plan for this week, the next 5 to 7 days of what you need to be working on in each of those primary areas. We're going to be focused on what's important right now. We call them our win list items. The acronym is WIN, W-I-N, what's important now. And we want to be thinking on the 3 to 5 items that are the top priority items on any of those areas and getting those items done. Now, when we think about being relentlessly consistent in our sprint planning, we're also thinking about what we call the MOO, right? Acronym is MOO, method of operation. And we're thinking about what type of recurring activities are we doing on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, etc., and making sure we're allocating or blocking time to also be diligently working on this. All of this being said, the reality is we are firm believers that everything boils down to small, sizable action items that we can take consistently over and over and over again that are going to yield predictable results. Guy, you'll be the first one to say, you take care of the little things, and the big things are going to take care of themselves. And that's really what we're focused on each and every week is what are those little things that you have going on this week that you need to remind yourself, I've got to do this every day this week. The next 7 days, I'm going to take care of this. Maybe it's the first thing you're going to do right when you wake up. And maybe it's focused on, your physical health or your spirituality. Maybe it's focused on your finance or your career, whatever those areas are that you're identifying tasks and action items for. As many of you are aware, here at LFI, we have an amazing community where we support each other. So there are 4 calls that we do every week that you want to allocate time for on your schedule to either participate in the live, like some of you are doing right now, or to watch a replay to remind yourself of the content so that you can, again, refill on a consistent basis so that you can stay focused and reset. Those calls, Monday sprint planning right now. Okay, we're already going almost a third of the way through this thing. Next, you've got things like what? Tech Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Time, everybody. There is a week at a glance card, and we can post in the link for that week at a glance. But you've got Tech Tuesday at 2, Monday sprint planning on Monday. On Thursday, we're going to be doing our regular Thursday roundtable mastermind. And then on Friday, we round out the week with our Friday with the founders. Now, I've gone ahead and thrown that week at a glance card into the chat section if you need that. And if you're joining us on the YouTube, or maybe you're in the social groups and you want to get access to that week at a glance card, go on ahead and let us know and we'll get that out to you. So guys, that's what it boils down to. We come in and we beat this dead horse every single week, guy, trying to remind people, make your plan, stick to your plan, take action on the action items, and you will make forward progress. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Guy. Any tips, tricks, helpful things? And then I'm going to open this up to anybody who might have a tip or a trick or a question about sprint planning. Go ahead, Guy.
We're creatures of habit, and we continue to do what we've done until we figure out that there's a better system or something to implement or improve upon. And I think, from my standpoint, we're always looking for ways of refinement. And so that's why we might talk about adjustments that we've made in our days and our weeks. And we just let other people know how it's working for us. Some adjustments that I've sort of made over these last couple months, and I've stuck pretty solid to it, is I do 7 things every morning. The first thing I do is I wake up and I drink 2 glasses of water. I start my day with 2 glasses of water. I stay away from my smartphone. I work out. I meditate or self-reflection, affirmation. I take about 20 minutes to do that. I read or I listen to something for 20 minutes that's going to energize me, inspire me, to get me ready for the day. Then I sit down and I set my goals for the day. So there's 6. And the 7th is I always take a shower before I eat breakfast. For some reason that gets me going, gets the juices flowing. And then from that creatures of habit thing, I sat down while I was gone this last week and wrote down what the week really looks like for me and how I sort of take it. I take my Mondays, and Mondays are setting the week up and reflection or operational things. We do a lot of operational things within LFI. I get into my emails all on Monday. Tuesdays is more of a meeting day, meeting with existing users, and most of that's with existing people that are part of the LFI community. And then we also work heavily with development on Tuesdays. That's where we get the opportunity to sit down with them and say, this is what's working, this is what's not, this is what we need to refine and adjust. And moving forward, this is the future plan of what LFI will be. Every Wednesday, we get into our tech testing. We sit down, we get into our app on the test platform. We get into the desktop version to make adjustments, give refinement, give information back. Thursdays are more of the new connection meetings, people that have been referred to me to have a conversation with, and bring them along in hopefully the process or the cycle to understand what LFI can do for them and be a triple win for anyone who would like to participate or go along in the journey with us. And then Friday is the wrap up and preset for the next week. Knowing that both ER and I sort of take Friday afternoons, and we'll express that to you. We sort of take Friday afternoons to spend time with our family and sort of start that week, that rejuvenation element because of the hours that have been put in from the previous 4.5 days. So that's a lot of what we do. I think I take it back from, our athletic days when you would go into a Monday practice and every Monday practice was sort of the same. Tuesday was sort of the same. Wednesday, you're going to get beat up. Thursdays, you're going to get to rejuvenate a little bit. Fridays, your walk through. Saturday, you perform. But knowing that that's what that week sort of looks like. Or when you walk into the locker room and on the board there is your practice plan, and Tuesday, there's 3 really hard periods. It's this one, and this one. Are they back to back to back? Are they spread out? What does it look like? So the same thing sort of happens with our week. We sit down Sunday and say, hey, Tuesday is going to be a heavy dedication on testing. And, I know my smartphone is going to be turned off. That's where I can focus and get things done. We're really in the trenches Tuesdays, Wednesdays from the aspect of making sure that the platform is performing to its peak potential. And if not, trying to figure out where refinements can be. So that's just a little insight of how our weeks work. It is really a Groundhog Day, but we enjoy it because we take about 40% of all those days as well and expect the unexpected. Know that something might pop up that appears to be a higher priority. And so we do take care of those things when those happen, but that's just an idea of what our week sort of looks like over here.
Well, and Guy, I think it's so important to talk about that in the general sense and let everybody know that's the reality, right? It's about establishing the correct routine, right? What are you going to be doing and what is that going to look like? And are you just going to execute on it? And to your point, it ends up being almost like a Groundhog Day. And funny enough, I was talking about What About Bob, another Bill Murray movie last week, right? Where he does baby steps, little actions are what gets him the result. The same thing here. If you ever watched Groundhog Day, what I love about that movie, Guy, is how good or proficient he becomes at certain activities he does over and over and over again. That's the beauty of it, right? If you had the ability to repeat something over and over and over again, remember he takes piano lessons and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, this is my first lesson. And he's playing like Beethoven, you know what I mean? Or he goes and he rescues the homeless man because he tracks him over to. These are all things that were the result of having a routine and repeating that routine over and over and over again. So Guy, you're spot on. And what you talked about, if you're listening to Guy and Guy's routine, and mine's very similar, again, these are all things that are related to areas that Guy is focused on in his own personal wheel of life, right? So one of those for personal health, things like working out or hydration. Guy and I are both huge on hydration. I think you have water, right? Eight ounce glasses a day, right? I try to get 4 full Nalgene bottles. That's a gallon of water a day. And I will tell you, when I implemented that years ago, it was a game changer. Was it hard to adopt initially? Absolutely. It was completely new. I felt like I was using the restroom every 2 minutes type of thing, and my body wasn't used to it. But over time, it became habitual and it became part of my everyday routine. The same thing with waking up and doing some meditation or reading some information. Jeff, you said Wordle down there. Again, if you make it as part of your routine, that might be the one thing that you do consistently that sparks your imagination and gets those creative juices flowing. What you need to do is identify what that is for you and then just get consistent on it. That's the whole key to all of this. And then once you're consistent, you start adjusting dials over time, right? We heard about it on the Atomic Habits book, where you want to adjust those dials and make incremental improvement. Maybe that routine in the morning and the steps that you're doing need to be adjusted, or maybe something's taking longer than it should. You're going to notice that thing when you habitually take action on that routine over and over again. When you start to optimize that process, when Guy might say, hey, it makes so much more sense to have this ready next to my nightstand, so when I wake up, it's the first thing I'm picking up. He's actually setting himself up for success. Or the same reason why sometimes I will lay out my clothes the night before and the kids' clothes, so that when we wake up in the morning, we're already hitting the ground running to execute on our routine. Now, Ruben, you've got your hand up. Join the conversation. Thanks for being on today.
Okay, I just got another win. I want to share that with people. I'm open 24/7, 7 days a week, guys. It's a lot different because I use Google Calendar, and thanks so much, ER, because I'm really blocking my time.
Yep.
But it's the time of the prospect that I have to deal with. Case in point, you see Leanne over here, a major realtor in the Smoky Mountains. Okay, knocking it out. Okay, she acquired her account maybe 3 months ago, and then she disappears. Yep. She's so busy. And I don't chase her, but we both correspond on texting and all that. Well, she has a major thing happen. They're moving with kids, and I'm following her on Facebook. Well, we designed a digital card, and she went to a major event with all her other realtors. Just this morning, we finally got together, and she's given me a summary of everything. She said they had a wow factor. She loves her bracelet. She loves her tap card. And all of a sudden, I created a card before our conversation, knowing that maybe there might be another need that she'll have. And that's her QR code on her yard sign. She goes, whoa. She goes, I got to have that. You see what? And all of a sudden now it's a whole different thing. So she's putting me on her list of things to deal with. I've invited her to LFI Insiders. I don't know whether she'll be able to have the time to get in there, but
sure.
Anyway, the bottom line is, guess what now? She wants to be an affiliate.
Yep.
So, one thing leads to another. And I've been trying to work with her for months, it seems like, but finally it comes out. Now, as far as a regular routine, this morning I have a Monday online meeting with a networking group. We had two brand new visitors that came in, one of which is going to help me open up California. We're looking for NTI leaders there. All of a sudden now, both of them, I have one-to-ones scheduled with them based on the discipline ER on the QR, on the making a card with a campaign where they pick out the time and date to make appointments. All of a sudden now it's automatically set this week with them. So there is a way to plan and execute, but the bottom line, life is full of surprises.
Yep.
And we have to be open anytime we can and follow the flow, because if you do that, now and then you'll have some wins. And I had a couple of wins so far.
I love it. I love hearing about those wins, Ruben. And I think you bring up a really valid point. And Guy mentioned this when he was talking about his day, and that's leave a little bit of flex time. In fact, we recommend about 40% flex time. So if you're looking at breaking out your schedule and blocking time for the week and being consistent in your routine, maybe every Monday, as Ruben says, he's got that meeting every Monday morning. He's got this time when he's going to do follow-ups. He's got this time when he's going to do prospecting. Make sure you leave a little bit of flex time, because just like what Ruben was talking about, we have to expect the unexpected. Okay. We call them the unexpected expectancies. They're going to come out of the woodwork. That's the reality of everyday life. Not everybody's schedule is going to match up with our schedule. So if we leave enough flex time, about 40% on any given day, if nothing pops up, you guys should have a task list or a to-do list that's prioritized that you fill that flex time with. Okay, that's the first thing. So it's not just idle time, it is flex time. Number two, Number two, if something pops up in an area where you already have something blocked, right? This is the time I do my follow-up phone calls. But yesterday, so-and-so, who I've been talking with for a few months now, says they're available at that exact same time. You don't tell them, nope, I'm going to be doing my follow-ups during that time and I can't take your phone call. You say, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to work around your schedule. And you book the time, and then you move your allocated block time into your flex time. So that way you're flexible. You'll still be able to get your things done. And there is a little bit of nuance or flexibility there. Yes, it's going to be disruptive a little bit to the habits of your routine, because maybe you're used to every morning picking up the call, and now you're having a phone call with somebody and you're going to be picking up the calls later in the afternoon. But be diligent about that. So, I think a lot of people who try to block their time in 15-minute increments throughout the day, all day, every day. And I've met people who are like that. And when they're on a roll and their routine does not get disrupted, wow, they're a force to be reckoned with, right? They'll say, oh, I've got 15 minutes. It just ended. I've got to stop and get lunch because I've got to start in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? They are just so on point with their time. However, where that tends to deteriorate or fall apart is the moment the unexpected expectancies happen. Something comes out of the woodwork and they're like, oh no, I really want to take this call, but I'm supposed to be doing this right now. And if I don't do this, I don't know when I'm going to fit it back in. So again, when we're planning our day, we want to make sure we're allocating time. About 65% of our time is planned out, blocked out. We know what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it with and who we're going to be doing it with. And then the other time is flex. And again, flex, not idle. So work on your other task items and things like that you might normally do in flex time. Jeff, go ahead. Thanks for joining.
I thought it was funny. I know that you guys really stress reading and books and stuff. And so I just grabbed a couple of my counters full of them as I'm working away on my assignment that I'm sure you're going to check in on me here in a bit. But one of them is Eben Pagan's, great online marketer, well-respected, and opportunity. And I think we were talking about that. So I don't know if you can see that, how to win in business and create the life you love. So and a lot of what you're talking about is not just being successful in business, because I can tell you when I had my traditional business, I was running like a maniac and I didn't quite have the freedom that I wanted. Yep. And, and so that's the whole idea, is that it not just, and one of the best tips I ever got was don't just do your business and then plan, your free time around it, but actually plan your life. Right? Like last night, we have a family date. We went to Tom Cruise's movie,
Oh, yeah.
And but we did it as a family, all of us, my two twin daughters and my son-in-law and my wife and I. And I had to stop cold, even though I was thinking about, oh my God, I got this Monday call and I've committed to everybody. I'm going to have my thing done. And I could really use that time last night to have been working on that thing. But instead, I dropped everything and we went to the movie. And by the time I got home, I was so trashed that I went to early bed. But I was up early this morning working. And we'll get to that in a bit. But here's something that's interesting about what you guys are talking about. Here's a very thick book. Yeah. Very pretty boring topic for most of you, but it's a role that I now have to play. I have to be the affiliate manager for our new company, and it's an hour a day. Well, obviously, when I first got the book, I was like, okay, and I dove in and I spent more than an hour. But the whole concept here is basically, this is a boring book, so chunk it away an hour at a time. So they know that if you get this book, you're going to be like, there's no way I'm reading this monster book. So treat, the philosophy of that book is they get it. They know that nobody's going to want to sit and read an affiliate management marketing book or some other big, thick document book unless you just commit to that 15 minutes or an hour a day. So anyway, I just wanted to jump in and share that, as maybe that will help stir up some ideas for everybody else.
I love it, Jeff. I love it. And this is what I love about the community. It's our ability to collaborate and offer tips and tricks and thoughts to everybody who's going to see this. And you bring up a few things. Knowledge is power, everybody. Knowledge is power. And in today's day and age, We have more access to more knowledge than we've ever had before. So we have no excuse individually on not knowing something. You can basically go online, go to your local library, go to Amazon and find exactly what you're looking for. Even to Jeff's point, if you're looking for a specific book on a specific topic like opportunity, or if you're looking on it on affiliate management, program management, etc., the information is out there. So all you need to do is, one, absorb the information, intake, right? Turn on whatever pipe you use to absorb that information. I'm a video, audio, reading type of person. Guy and I are both similar in that vein. And then once you acquire the knowledge, you have to be able to apply the knowledge. So that's the other step. I'm a huge proponent of personal improvement, reading tons of books, all of that type of stuff. But here's the key to all of that. Apply it. Take one topic or one item, highlight the heck out of that book, Jeff, and then apply, because those people who learn and apply get the results. Those people who just learn have good knowledge. You know what I mean? So that's a huge thing. The other thing that you mentioned is balance. This is the biggest key on what we're talking about. Guys, we could come on here and crack the whip and be like, this is only focusing on your LFI affiliate program. And here's the plan for the week on your being a successful LFI affiliate. And here's what you're going to do. And guys, you should know that stuff, right? Give away free business cards, follow up with people, outreach people, build your leads. These are all things that we should be doing every day. And in casual daily operation, we're going to easily find areas where we're highlighting and exposing LFI solutions to other people. Really, what we really want to express to everybody is success is about balance. Like, Jeff, I commend you for saying, look, I've got to get this stuff done, but at some point I need to take a break and have some balance and spend some family time. This is that whole thing where there are people out there, guys, they are out of a 10 out of 10 on the financial side, they're 100 out of 10, right? Making money left and right, and there are zeros everywhere else. You know what I mean? They've let their family go by the wayside. They've let their health go by the wayside. Maybe their mental faculties are going by the wayside. We've seen it. There are examples of that. The reality is we don't want anybody to be unsuccessful in other areas of their life. We want all to be balanced. And it's the same actions necessary: focus, plan, action, execution in all of those areas that end up resulting in stuff. And the last thing, Jeff, that you mentioned that I think is so powerful, and again, I love to call this stuff out because I think it's so important that I understand it and that everybody else understand it. One bite at a time. One bite at a time, right? Affiliate program management, 1 hour a day. You're not going to sit down and solve the world's problems, let alone your own problems, in a single sitting. But you will be able to accomplish a monumental task if you take it one bite at a time. You just need to sit down and start taking that first bite and then get used to chewing and eating it, guys, because you're going to be sitting there chewing and eating for a while until you get to the end. But even if it means breaking it out and saying, I'm just going to put an hour of effort into this. Like, Guy, I know you and I were shifting over to some new system we call Kubernetes, right? So we're going through and doing all of this testing. We're testing out everything. And the best way we know to accomplish it is take it one bite at a time. Go in and say, okay, we're focused on this section first. Let's go through. Let's test. Let's allocate time. Let's sit down. Let's be focused and knock it out. And then when we're out, we check that one off the list. And guess what? We're one step closer. Eventually, if you've ever done that, I used to do this when I would work out, right? And you'd have like, okay, today I got to run 3 miles. And man, that first mile and a half seemed like an uphill battle, but the second mile and a half seemed like a downhill thing. Right now, I'm halfway done. Now I'm 3/4 of the way done. You have to have some of those mental tricks to come in and say, look, one bite at a time. It stinks eating the first bite and only being 1% of the way done. It feels a lot better after the first few bites, and then you start getting momentum. But once you're past the halfway turn, guys, it's all downhill from there, and you should have the momentum to finish strong. We have to think about that. Guy, remember we used to have to run sprints? Oh, man, those were horrible, right? Out and backs, down and ups, jingle jangles, all these little workout things. And the coach would tell us, okay, we're running this many. And I'd have to be in my head encouraging myself at least to get to the halfway point. And then after that, I always felt better, but it was always let's focus on this one sprint right now and get it done, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So Jeff, thank you so much for sharing that. Knowledge is power, balance it all out, take it one bite at a time. Any additional thoughts to add? Yeah, you can if you want. You got anything? You good? Anybody else?
I was just going to say, Mike wants to jump in. Let's let him jump in.
Yeah, Mike, welcome.
Hey, thanks. Couple things Ruben pointed out when about being persistent. Always, that person that he talked to, Leanne, he hadn't talked to her for months, but when he talked to her, he followed, he was persistent. He went back or talked to her again. I love the idea of being flexible, because that's something that I have to build into my calendar, remember to build into my calendar, because Murphy's Law strikes all the time. Mm-hmm. And those unexpected things do pop up. And when they pop up, your whole schedule's thrown into chaos if you don't have that flexible time built in. So thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah, no, and thank you for jumping on today. I think these are huge things. Flexibility is a big one, right? We get so regimented sometime that the moment we're not flexible and disruption happens, it throws us into a whirlwind. But if you can plan for that and prepare for that, when it does arise, you're more agile. We talked about some of these words, pivoting, last week. You're in a better position to do those types of things. And then I think the other thing to what Ruben was talking about that you mentioned with persistence. Persistence is key. We do a lot of stuff that is data driven. Okay, think about this. If it's data driven, that means we don't have to argue over what is right and what is wrong. It's in the numbers. It's a matter of math. The math says this, so I can't argue for it or against it. It's just what the math says. And the math says that the average person doesn't follow up. 80% of people more than twice, 50% more than once. Think about it, that's the average. Yet the people who are closing business, doing deals, doing sales, they're averaging 5 to 12 interactions with their customers. So when you hear that, you should peak up. What? Okay, then I need to have a goal to interact 5 to 12 times at a minimum with the people I'm interacting with. Otherwise, I'm just average. We don't want to be average. We want to be above average. We want to do the things that average people don't do so we can get what average people don't get, right? Those are all those old sayings. So we have to look at the math and say, what is it going to take? And guys, the reality is it doesn't take much. It takes being persistent and following up. We don't know what the other person has going on, right? Think about our own lives. What unexpected things came up for them, what chaos they are dealing with, what's going on in their business, the timing of things. These are all things that we are not mind readers or privy to. We don't have crystal balls, so we have to make some assumptions. They've got chaos in their life. Their schedule is all over the place. They've got other priorities, and maybe we aren't a priority for them right now. These are all things that we have to accept that it's not against us. We think that when people are slow and they don't buy immediately, it's like they hate us. That's not true. We have to get over that. Again, it's not about us, it's about them, So we just consistently and persistently reach out periodically. Hey, how's it going? That brings us top of mind. And that lets them know we're still focused on helping them. And eventually they will come around. I've talked to people where it's been 2 years of periodic, just, hey, how's it going? How you doing? How's the family? Just thinking of you, those types of things. And then the person's like, oh my gosh, we're ready. Now is the time. The timing is right. And when that opportunity presents itself, you have to be in a position to capitalize on it, but you've done all the groundwork to set it up. So I really appreciate those thoughts, Mike, because I think these are all important components that when we start learning about those components and then applying those components in our daily lives, we start to see the big wins. And I think it all really starts with having a plan in the first place. What am I going to be doing? What is my plan in a perfect world while still planning for the unexpected expectancies? Where am I going to focus my time and what decisions am I going to make that are going to impact my future outcome? When I start looking at it through those colored glasses, I'm starting to make more forward progress to the areas that I'm focused on. Because look, the reality is you're going to get the net result of the product of your actions. We're all going to do stuff today. We're all going to make decisions today. I'm guilty of it as anybody else. When I'm working on my physical stuff, my health stuff, right? I have to remember, I should probably have that salad instead of that burger. That's a choice. I can plan for it. I can say, hey guys, around noon every day, I make a salad for lunch, guys. Pretty easy choice to make. Hey guys, every day I try to drink 4 Nalgene bottles. Pretty easy choice to make, but I still have to take the action and do it. I can write off the perfect plan, everybody, but you got to put that plan into action. And I think the key to all of this is you have to prepare to execute your plan. And what does preparation look like? It looks like having the right skills, the right knowledge, the right tools to put your plan into action. If you don't, then acquiring those skills or acquiring that knowledge or acquiring those tools are going to be part of implementing your plan. So if you're sitting here going, hey, I need to build a card for this, or I have to have a card to go out to this event, then maybe one of the steps in your plan this week is building that card, refining that card, sharing that card out. If you guys joined us last Friday, and I'm going to put it back in here and call it out again today, we actually talked about 3 card design templates that we created for improvements on the enrollment process. I'm putting the first card link in the chat below. They're all linked together. They're all built on the Shuffle platform. And one of the tasks that we had last week and into this week is to get feedback from everybody regarding these designs. So if you haven't taken an opportunity to check those cards out, fill out a few of the feedback forms and let us know your thoughts, this is your opportunity to participate in what that design looks like. Again, and it's one of those things that's sitting on our task list for this week. After this week goes by, I'm going to aggregate all of the results of that feedback forms, and we're going to review it, and that's going to influence our design. And it's just one element in the whole thing. Again, what did I have to do? In order to execute on that plan, I had to build that card. So think back on what steps are necessary in order for you to go from where you are to where you want to get to at the end of the week. Yeah, Ruben, go ahead.
Okay. ER, could you do me a favor? Could you put them up real quick on the screen?
Yep. The card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a visual learner and I didn't want to share this with Mike as well, because Mike and I are going to have a one-to-one real quick after
this. So these are the cards. There's 3 of them. You can see it's part of a bigger card, but the screenshot itself is flanked here in a black outline. It's just a mobile enrollment form. And we created 3 designs. We built 3 Shuffle campaigns to highlight those designs. The campaign allows us to have a little feedback form with just 5 questions on there. Really, the main questions outside of name and email are going to be, how do you rate the visual appeal? And we did a little drop-down menu, 1 to 5. Also, how comfortable does the design make you feel? A little bit of 1 to 5. And then just some general comments, and allow somebody to fill that out and submit it, and then check out the other 2 pages. And again, I built these on Shuffle and I linked them together. So I grabbed the campaign link for each one, went back to the other and edited it and put the campaign link for the other on each card. So you can see this is the second design, a little bit different than the first, and what is in the body of that design layout, the same information, asking the same questions. So again, if you're participating in this, please take an opportunity to fill out the survey for each of those card designs. And then here's card design number 3. Again, all linked into the same sort of micro hub of landing pages, all for the singular purpose of just getting some feedback. So when I created this card, everybody, when I sat down last Friday morning, just before Friday with the founders, to create a 3-page micro site, the number 1 goal going into this was, I want to get feedback from the LFI community. So I come in with that intent. I said, how do I get feedback? Well, I need to create 3 little surveys, and I need to show people 3 images of the images we're looking at, and I want all of them to be linked together. Once I had that insight, I could allocate a little bit of time, come in and start out by saying, okay, what is my design going to be? Guys, I just created 1 card. Then what did I do? I cloned it, and I just replaced the images, changed a little bit of text, changed a few of the links. And then on each one of these, I created the campaign and built out the little survey. So very simple to do if you have the skills, again, to implement. And I think this is something anybody can do. And when we talk about the power of Shuffle from a landing page perspective, we're really talking about how are you intending to use your landing page? Come in with that forethought, build it out, and then you can use it for its intended purpose. Now, Ruben, was there anything specific you wanted to talk about with any of those?
I think you hit it on the head, because the intent obviously is to introduce the value of Shuffle, but then you're talking about a free card. But by the same token, there has to be an intent to link the free card to the premium card.
Yep.
So they have to understand essentially what they're getting here and what they're really going to get later.
Correct.
And
You have
also,
to think about it as a journey or a flow, Ruben, right? And this is something that I know Jeff would speak well to. When we're talking about entering people into the funnel, there are a lot of gurus out there where the first step is to build your list, right? The first step is some type of lead capture. There's an offer, join the list, provide some information. Same thing here with these pages, at least, not with this card itself, but with the pages is we're starting to gather information to create their free account, Ruben, to your point. And then that will escalate them through that customer lifecycle journey to getting other products like the premium product or their tap card, et cetera, on there. So again, each time I'm building a landing page, I'm thinking about the intent and long-term use of that landing page. And, Jeff, you've mentioned this before, but I'm not trying to kill 50 birds with one stone. If my number one goal with this page is to get feedback, I'm not trying to put a bunch of enrollment links on here. You know what I mean? I'm just gathering feedback, fill out the form. I see people, and Jeff, you've mentioned this, with cards that have 50 links on them. Here's everything I do under the sun. And that's great if you have an intended purpose, like posting that on your Instagram where you only got one URL to share and you have to link everybody out to all your other socials. But in other instances where you're like, hey, nice to meet you, here's everything I do, and you got 50 things on there, and they were really only talking to you about your pizza business or your DJ business or your landscape business, you're better off saying, oh yeah, here's my landscape card versus everything I do. Okay, any other questions, comments, tips, tricks, or anything, specifically anything related to making a plan for this week, executing our plans, and seeing forward progress? Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
Well, obviously, and I'll tie this into the challenge that we kind of some of us accepted last week, was the one task. Now, my task was a little more of an elephant-sized. And
you do on your DSL. Yeah, let's hear it, bud.
And here's what happens. I mean, a lot of times as you're going down a path, right? Let's say you're just building a plane model with your kid, and you decide halfway through, well, you know what, we were thinking we were going to do this, but now let's make sure it's a double wing plane or whatever. So I'm just using that analogy because it's something that we can all apply to whatever our one thing was. Well, my one thing was not a simple thing. There was multiple steps. And what it did though for me, I got out of my copy into my copy docs inside of Google Docs, and I actually pulled up my custom slides that they were already pre-made in terms of the color and the the type of fonts and everything, because you want everything branded, right? And that's a big thing. So the branding was already there, and so I started to just copy, paste, plug, shift around the slides, and I'm up to about 50 now. So and I'm leaning a little bit more, and I don't know if you guys know, here's a VSL and here's a webinar. Now, a lot of people say, well, what's the difference? Well, there are subtle differences. And especially if you're trying to follow what I call the perfect webinar, it would be something that Brunson put together, or also I follow Mike Dillard's and some others, but they're all pretty much the same. I mean, in terms of and so I've got that kind of laid out. I've got the funnel page or the sales page built. And that's one thing that's important on your LFI cards a lot of times, or anything, is that create your page, your sales page, and then you can go and create some of the detail stuff later. A lot of course builders do that, where they'll create the sales page and start selling their course or selling a book before the book is even written. You just give them just enough, and you give them some of the bullets off the inside cover on a sales page, and you start pre-selling. So that's getting into some stuff. And so where I'm at is I came upon a great tip, and this is what we all deal with. And I want to throw this concept out there for you guys. It's called false beliefs. And so as you're working on your one thing, guess what happens? Things pop into our little heads called false beliefs. And they start, and again, there's three categories. The vehicle, right? So for instance, I'm going to use LFI Shuffle. LFI Shuffle, the software that you guys offer us, that is the vehicle, okay? And that's the vehicle that we're trying to convince or to offer to other people to use to help them get to where they want to go, because it's the vehicle that we discovered that gets us to where we are going. So we go backwards to say, before I discovered LFI Shuffle, I didn't know that I could track I would just send out links to my company sites. I had no idea if anybody was looking at it. Follow up. Hey, did you get a chance to look at no, I didn't get a chance. And then you're feeling awkward and weird, right? With LFI, that feature, see now what that does is that feature grabs somebody's attention and draws them into the vehicle. They love that feature, that benefit that they get from the vehicle, right? Now, here's the next part. This is the part that, and this applies to both LFI, Shuffle, and all other softwares or anything where it takes a person's skill and ability and knowledge to learn a few simple things to be able to make that vehicle freaking work, right? And so many people sign up for LFI Shuffle or other software platforms, which I did recently. I bought a bunch of video creating software, sat on my computer. I had to put it on the site. I opened it up. I'm like, crap, this is not what I wanted. Now it's too late to give it back. I spent hundreds. Stupid is, stupid does. But my point is this, that vehicle is not the vehicle that I thought it would be. And so I have to throw it to the side. LFI Shuffle will always be one of my core vehicles, but I needed to get my skills and my knowledge about the vehicle to a point where I could then tell Ruben, listen, it's easy, dude. It's simple. Let me show you, or here's a video that ER made or that guy made, or go to the YouTube or join our call and learn. So now they're not, so that self-limiting belief, right? The vehicle, does it work? Hell yeah, it works. But do I know how to do it? And that's the biggest, if we can knock that false belief down, and that's part of when you build a VSL or a webinar, you just have to smash that the limiting belief, the false belief in that person. I can't do tech. Yes, you can. Can you copy and paste, and can you move a few things around? So you have to convince that person to show them, yes, it's easy. Okay. And the final one is the external, and that would be the cost. Oh my gosh, it's too expensive. Really? 30 bucks is worth it. 20s, and sometimes we get a $10. I don't know if the 10 is out there now, but it doesn't matter if it's 10 or 20. I would spend 50 bucks a month for this platform, right? So the point is that I don't have the time. Yeah, I'm learning how to do it. So those three things, guys: vehicle, internal doubts and wondering, can I do it? Do I have the skill? Do I have the knowledge? And then the external. Well, people will make fun of me, and nobody will, whatever. The external stuff: no time, no money, whatever. And if you can smash those, self-limiting beliefs, those false beliefs, now you can move forward and get that one thing done, which, if you're trying to convert somebody into becoming a subscriber, those are the three things that you need to manage or work with to get them to, what's the big idea? You need an LFI Shuffle card to grow your business and elevate your life, right? So that big idea, you need to crush those three false beliefs. And so what I've been doing is I've been making a list, and I'm going to encourage you all to do this. Take a look at your business and write down, what is the false belief that your ideal customer or client would have about your thing. Okay, let's talk about LFI Shuffle. What are the false beliefs people maybe have about a digital business card or whatever? And then you go ahead and you take a story, your story, and say, I thought I could never build anything because I couldn't even do a Facebook. See, and then you take them back where they were, and you start to squash those beliefs. And so where I am now is I have a ton of copy, more copy than I ever need. And it's a refining. I basically am color coding copy and plucking it in. And I've got over 50 slides done. And then I will do the talk over and all of the video, add some little video clips and this and that. So I'm not done. But what it did was, ER and Guy, is it pushed me to get way, way more done than I thought I would ever get done. And it got me moving down the process because I was stuck. I was stuck just looking at my copy and not building the slides. Once I got that going, boy, I was more motivated. I was up going and I was up early this morning cranking out slides right up until this call. So do you need to absolutely get it finished? Did I fail? No, I succeeded in getting further down the process. And now I know exactly where my finish line is. So does that kind of help all of you, not to beat yourself up, but to just understand it's a process and that process just keeps rolling.
Progress versus perfection, Jeff. Progress versus perfection and part of the process, I think, is really true. And you're a testament to not beating yourself up if you don't get a W. You know what I mean? Like forward progress and still having the same goal. Let me ask you this question, everybody who's hearing this. Would you rather have a goal and work at it in a short duration of time and not hit it and give up? Have a goal and work on it a short duration of the time, not get it, and work on it for a second duration and get it? You know what I mean? Think about that. Like the goal is to achieve the goal. If it takes you twice as long as what you estimated, this happens to Guy and I all the time. When we sit there developing a new feature or technology, we don't know what amount of code it's going to take to make that work. We estimate it, right? Just like what Jeff is talking about. Sometimes when we plan, we'll say, here is the task, the action. The action is to, like Jeff's talking about, write a page of copy. And we'll sit there and we'll go, well, I think it'll take about an hour to write that page of copy. And somebody else will be like, I don't know, wordsmithing and all that. That might take us 2 hours. And then we go through the path and we both realize we were completely wrong and it took 4 hours. Again, okay, so what? The whole goal is to get it done. And whatever helps you get started down that path, it is okay as long as you stick to it through to fruition. And that's what Jeff is going to do. So we're going to hold him accountable. We're his accountability team, and he's going to come back and show us the DSL when he's got it done.
Well, well, I'd be happy. What I could do is I want to show you the transition, if that's helpful, because it's a process, guys.
Sure.
And if you want to see a step in how I transitioned and broke through my sticking point and what I started to do, I'd be more than happy if it's, you guys.
Yeah, maybe we can look at that on Thursday or something like that, Jeff. Again, the whole goal here is I want to help everybody make forward progress, and we can all learn from each other. If being on these calls helps you get one extra thing done this week, we have served our purpose here. Ideally, we want to help you be successful as an LFI affiliate, generating your passive residual income, but anything in any area of your wheel of life that you should be making forward progress on, that's what it's all about. Now, Ruben, in closing, I'm going to give you the last little bit here. You had your hand up patiently. Go on ahead, my friend.
Oh, yes.
Still have a question or a tip or a trick or a comment?
Yes, Jeff, limiting beliefs and price versus right on, but
false beliefs.
I mean, there's people out there that bring those excuses, but the secret is the one-to-one. When you can be on one-to-one and show them visually something.
Yeah.
And then, so in other words, if we don't have that one-to-one thing and we're having to put out content out in social media, we have to have a video. Create a video that's real simple. You can do 3 things, at least have that, because the one-to-ones that's the recipe for success. Being able to talk to somebody, show them whatever that is. But when we're doing what we're doing now, we have to come up with it. And like ER says, we have to maybe create our own videos of our own thing talking.
Absolutely.
But some of us are not that professional just yet. So in between time, we got to come up with something that's very simple, but it's a video. Look at TikTok, for crying out loud.
Sure.
Why did it just explode versus all these other things. Look at what they're doing. And Jeff, you always said copy the pros. If you look at those people and what they do, it's amazing. It's just simply amazing.
And take an opportunity, Ruben, to look out for those patterns. Again, we've talked about this on previous calls. When you take a step back, and Jeff mentions the gurus out there, do a search for the gurus out there. And what you'll see is you'll start to see some common threads. Guys, success leaves clues. Look for those common threads, then research out those threads and start to apply some of that stuff. Ruben, to your point, progress is better than perfection. Even if you don't feel like you're all the way there, make your version of the video. Be your authentic, true self. You have an audience that looks to you for guidance. And that's really what Jeff's talking about when he talks about going and eliminating the false beliefs and all of those types of things relating to that customer. I remember I experienced, this was my experience too. You are their guide. You're not telling them or selling them. You're taking them on a journey, allowing them to make an informed decision. And then lastly, in closing here, and I think this is a powerful thing because I've been on both sides of this equation. And one area is 100% automation. Okay, I want to talk about this just in this last closing section. 100% automation is a great place to be if you have millions of eyeballs to go through it, because it's a catch-all and it's going to convert at certain rates. And that's great. There's a place for it. And Ruben, to your point, there's a place for that. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's a place for 100% person to person. Think about that, where everything is unique or personalized to the person you're interacting with. In fact, person-to-person sales is a great process for high-ticket items. We hear about those high-ticket closers out there, those sales professionals who are learning certain skills that are going to help them dominate when they're selling on a one-to-one, person-to-person basis, because there are tons of techniques, skills, tips, and tricks that you can use, just like what Jeff talks about when writing copy for an automated sort of sales funnel type of thing to be the catch-all converter there, that you can use on a one-to-one situation to convert there. Now, what I know is there's a law of diminishing returns on both, where you're going to have high conversions on high volume, eyeballs, and high conversions on lots of one-to-ones, but they start to cross or go down or have a diminishing return over time. And what we're talking about over here at LFI is finding that right balancing act. Where can I leverage things that are active 24/7 out on the internet that help me drum up leads, gain excitement, and lead me to have those qualified one-on-one conversations that I can convert? Then there are some items where it's just, you can't support it with the one-to-one. It all has to be automated. Likewise, there are some items where you can't automate it all. It's all got to be personalized one-to-one. So we in our respective fields have to fill out our landscape and what we're promoting and what we're selling to see what strategies are the best fit for us. But to Jeff's point, to Ruben's point, both can be supported with a landing page built on Shuffle. So guys, with that being said, we're at the top of the hour. This has been Monday Sprint Planning. The key to all of this, if you haven't been listening this whole time, is make a plan, okay? Prepare to execute your plan by having the right knowledge, skills, and tools, and then take massive action. And that's the call to action for this week. I want you to take massive action this week on the 65% of things that you're going to have scheduled on your plan. And then I want you to look at each day. Just take a minute at the end of each day. Did I win today? Did I get more done than I didn't? Did I get 65% of the stuff that I allocated done? Then put a W for the day. All you have to do is get more W's than you have L's for the week, and you're going to win the week. Be consistent on winning each week. You win more weeks than you do losses for the year, 52 weeks in the year, and you're going to make forward progress, guys. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And the goal here is, we're going to look back on a 6-month increment on our progress to make sure we're still headed in the right direction. And we'll adjust our compasses here starting in July to come back and look at the wheel of life, look at our plan, look at the mindset of a champion, look at the Born to Win philosophy of Zig Ziglar, and make sure we're all on track. And that's what you should be working on this week. So with that being said, thank you for taking some time out of your day to listen to this, to watch this, to participate in this. Thanks for everybody who contributed. Mike, Jeff, Ruben, everybody else. So good having you on. Everybody have an amazing week, and we'll talk to everybody on Tech Tuesday.